Did you know that the Buddha actually never wanted to teach after his enlightenment? Because the concept of Atma, the self, was regarded as permanent very widely by practitioners back in ancient India at that time. Because as you may know, the whole essence of the Buddha's teachings tells us that the self, the Atma, is actually Niratma, which means the self is emptiness or empty. But above, in the godly realms, Lord Indra and Lord Brahma could actually see an earth that a being had become enlightened, and then they had come down to earth to see the Buddha and to request him to please teach for the benefit of all beings. And at that moment they also offered him a golden Dharma Chakra, as we call it. And as you know, in the 8 auspicious signs that a Dharma Chakra exists, it is due to represent the same offering Lord Indra and Brahma made to the Buddha to teach for the benefit of all beings. And it was only after that the Buddha considered teaching, and with his enlightened eyes he was able to see through who would really be a suitable vessel for the truth or the Dharma that he was about to share and teach. And with his enlightened vision, he came to realize that the 5 companions which he had before during the process of his enlightenment were actually in Banaras in India, current day Varanasi, and they were meditating there, practicing. But back then they had actually abandoned the Buddha during the process of his enlightenment because he did not keep up certain vows or restrictions. So the Buddha proceeded towards the 5 companions, who later became known as the first 5 excellent disciples, as we call them Koranga Dezangpo. So as the Buddha was getting closer to his 5 first disciples, they actually decided to not even stand up and show any respect, because they thought he's Gautama and he is who he was before. And as he was getting closer, they had no choice but automatically stood up just by his aura and his presence. And it is after those moments that Gautama Buddha gave his first ever teachings on earth, as we know them as 4 noble truths today. The first is the truth of suffering, or dukkha, and he described 3 kinds of suffering. The first is the suffering of obvious pain, dunghal-chi dunghal. This is like being sick or getting injured or being hurt by someone's words. It's the suffering we feel directly or immediately. The second is the suffering of change, jurvi dunghal. This is when something good doesn't last. For instance, everything may seem perfect in your relationship until one day, boom, it's gone. Even joyful moments with loved ones bring suffering because they are impermanent. The third is the all-pervasive suffering, chapa ducheji dunghal. This is the subtle underlying suffering simply by being caught in the cycle of existence or samsara. It's like carrying an invisible backpack of the stress and pressures of life for so long that you forget what it feels like not to carry it. So understanding and accepting these 3 forms of suffering doesn't mean we give up on life. The Buddha taught about suffering not to make us sad, but to help us understand it. By recognizing suffering, we begin to free ourselves from expecting life to be perfect. So then our hearts and minds can be more open and stronger. The Buddha said, there is suffering, there is a cause of suffering, there is an end of suffering, and there is the path to the end of suffering.